Some people wanted to see the destroyed Titanic in the bottom of the sea and make a history, but did anyone know that they would all become history with the history of the Titanic itself? Advising the submarine Titan to go to sea and see the sinking Titanic was Steve Campbell Stockton Rush, who was the CEO and founder of OceanGate. He launched expeditions to explore the Titanic through Titan Submersible and invited ordinary people to be a part of this unique experience. OceanGate is a company that uses advanced technology to search undersea. Their aim was to better assess historical sites, such as the Titanic, and bring them to the public safely. Stephen Campbell organized various expeditions, giving experts, researchers, and interested people the opportunity to take them to the depths of the Titanic. It should also be remembered that Titan's last voyage ignored some security and technical concerns that led to its destruction. There is some important information about the Titan Submersible crash. When Titan Submersible began its journey to observe the Titanic in the depths of the deep sea, it made some significant mistakes despite being equipped with modern technology. The first and biggest mistake was the material used in its manufacture. Titan used a mixture of carbon fiber and titanium, which cannot withstand pressure at very deep. In addition, the submersible had no backup system that could work in emergencies. It was a big risk. Eventually, instead of creating an authentic and safe path for Titan, it was hastily landed in the depths of the ocean. All these factors together led to this accident, and this mission of Titan Submersible ended in a tragic end. One surprising aspect about Titan Submersible was that a common game controller was used to control it. The controller was modeled by the Logitech F710, a wireless game controller typically designed to play with computers or game consoles, not deep-sea missions. Unlike other traditional submersibles, the Titan Submersible S design had no emergency exit system or quick-release mechanism. It requires specific methods if submersible is to be brought back in case of an error, but instead of all of them in Titan, most rely on wireless connections and software controls, which proved insufficient to protect it. So, early one morning, the Titan sub was all set to launch from St. John's, Newfoundland, with the trusty Polar Prince as its ride. This wasn't any small trip after they loaded up. The Polar Prince pushed through about 370 miles of open seas to get to the exact spot above the Titanic wreck on the North Atlantic. The mission dived down to one of the deepest, most famous shipwrecks in history. Titan would reply back with its depth and position, step by step. Like a digital breadcrumb trail through the depths, it was like navigating the unknown. With communication was primarily through text messages sent to the Polar Prince, via voice signals, only texts to guide them. All credit goes to U.S. Coast Guard, which released footage of the Titan submersible wreckage on the ocean floor as part of an investigation into the incident. An accurate and complete copy of the final messages of the exchange between Titan Submersible and its subsidiary ship Polar Prince. However, some details have been revealed about the sequence of events that took place during Titan's dive. The initial landing took place as planned, with regular check-ins between Titan and the Polar Prince. Submersible continued to transmit updates on its depth and status. At 9:54 p.m., When Titan was present at a depth of 1560 meters, it lost contact with the Polar Prince, and there was no response. Then at 10:08 p.m., when the depth was 2060 meters, the reply was received from Titan, and said in the message that the messaging system had stopped working. After about 1 hour and 45 minutes of landing, all communication with Titan suddenly ceased. This sudden cutoff was unusual, but did not immediately indicate a catastrophic event, as intermittent signal loss at such depths is common. Please press the subscribe button quickly. Thank you. Don't skip any more video. Let us tell you some more details of the investigation, including the testing report of OceanGate Titan Submersible, and some more information. After the expected time of the mission passed and Titan did not return, the crew aboard the Polar Prince began an emergency process, eventually reaching for help, resulting in a massive search and rescue operation. The exact wording of the last messages has not been disclosed by OceanGate or the authorities concerned. The details released mainly focused on the timeline, which suggests that the accident occurred shortly after the final message was exchanged, but not before Titan could send any distress signals. The Titan Submersible was realized missing when several times there was no check-in and unsuccessful attempts were made to re-establish communication. Here's a timeline of how the events happened. About 1 hour and 45 minutes after landing began, all communication links between Titan Submersible and its auxiliary ship, Polar Prince, were cut off. This was unusual, but not an immediate cause for danger, as signal problems are common in deep-sea exploration. Titan was expected to resurface about 7 hours after its diving began. When it failed to return at the scheduled time, the crew of Polar Prince realized that there was an important problem. After Titan did not resurface, the crew on Polar Prince declared a state of emergency, and a search and rescue operation was launched. OceanGate contacted the U.S. Coast Guard, which then mobilized international resources, including the Canadian Coast Guard and other U.S. Navy deep-sea equipment. After 4 days of extensive search, a remote-operated vehicle ROV deployed by a Canadian ship searching for debris on the seabed near the wreckage of the Titanic. The debris resembles parts of the Titan Submersible, including the tail cone, indicating a catastrophic disaster. After the discovery of the wreckage on June 22, 2023, authorities confirmed that Titan had suffered a fatal accident and all passengers on board were presumed dead. This result was based on the nature and location of the debris, which corresponded to a catastrophic event occurring during diving. During a search for the Titan Submersible, the U.S. Navy detected a sound in the area where the submersible was operating. Here's how it appeared. The U.S. Navy has a classified underwater sound detection system designed to pick up unusual sounds like submarines. After Titan lost contact, the Navy reviewed the sound data and detected a sound that indicates a possible fault around the wreckage of the Titanic. The Navy made the sound shortly after Titan lost contact with its subsidiary, the Polar Prince. Although they detected the sound at the beginning of the search, it was considered unsubstantiated evidence at the time, as they certainly could not conclude that it was Titan. Despite the unverified nature of the sound, Navy information was shared with search teams, who used it to limit the search area. This eventually led to the discovery of debris from Titan on June 22, 2023, confirming a catastrophic catastrophe. Sound detection was initially classified, presumably to protect the details of the Navy's sound capabilities. However, after the wreckage was found and confirmed, the Navy revealed that it has indeed detected a sound that corresponds to Titan's last moments. Titan Submersible carried 5 passengers on its last expedition, all of whom lost their lives in the accident. Stockton Rush, CEO of OceanGate and pilot of Submersible. Hamish Harding, a British businessman and adventurer. Prince Dawood, a well-known Pakistani-British businessman. Suleiman Dawood, son of the prince, who is only 19 years old. Paul Henry Nargeolet, a French Titanic expert and former diver with extensive experience in exploring Titanic debris. Safety warnings ignored. Several experts had expressed concerns about Titan's safety standards long before the crash. Former employees of OceanGate and some experts believed that the whole design and material of the submersible was dangerous, especially the use of carbon fiber with titanium. Unlike other deep-sea ships, Titan did not have to undergo full industry standard certification. OceanGate argued that the unique design of the submersible went beyond traditional certification, which led some to see the company's approach as a cutting corner on safety. Titan relied heavily on text and sonar pings for communication with the surface. In extreme depths, even a small loss of communication can cause a complete disconnect, which can jeopardize the mission, and there is no possibility of immediate help. OceanGate's rescue plans were few due to Titan's extraordinary depth. Even if it was possible to detect it in an emergency, there was a lack of resources and technology needed to save the sink so deep. Following the incident, OceanGate was criticized for not being transparent about its diving data and technical logs, raising further questions about what might have gone wrong during the previous test dive. Each paying passenger reportedly paid $250,000 for a seat in the campaign. This high ticket price was due to complex logistics, extreme depth, and special equipment involved in the search for Titanic debris. The charm of this mission is also a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see this historical debris live. Ironically, due to the depth and nature of the ship, it is highly unlikely that any remains of the passengers aboard the Titan submersible can be recovered. The reason for this is, at the extreme depths, where the Titanic lies about 12,500 feet 3,800 meters below sea level, the water pressure reaches extraordinary levels, roughly 400 times higher than the pressure at sea level. This translates to a crushing pressure of approximately 5,500 psi. At such depths, any sudden exposure to this pressure would lead to an almost immediate implosion, reducing even the strongest submarine hull to fragments within milliseconds. In these conditions, the likelihood of preserving human remains becomes nearly impossible. To put this into perspective, the average human body has a surface area of about 2,900 square inches, though this varies by height and build. At the Titanic wreck's depth, with 5,500 psi pressing against every square inch of the body, this equates to an overwhelming force. 5,500 psi times 2,900 square inches equals 15,150,000 pounds of force. This massive force is comparable to the weight of approximately 5,700 cars pressing down on a human body. To explain to you, I am hypothetically telling you how many dangers can be near the Titanic. The temperature at this depth is close to freezing, and if any human remains, if not destroyed immediately, will face these extreme conditions, which will further complicate the restoration. During the search, only pieces of Titan, such as the tail cone and other structural pieces, were found. The nature and size of the debris suggest that the remains of the passengers were either destroyed in the debris or scattered in the deep-sea environment. The family and the public were informed that no bodies could be recovered, and this itself would be an urgent incident, which meant that the passengers did not suffer long agony. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do not forget to share and subscribe.